Hi everybody. Say hi, Alex.
Hi.
So I just left work and picked up my son Alex, and I always, either my son or myself, will go to pick up the envelopes for tonight's conference from one of the volunteers. So we always, they're called, like, we're the Tuesday evening team, so we are the Tuesday night calls, and we just picked up our envelopes, and we have tonight 4 different people that Adrian and I will be visiting. So this is always step 1. I'm just kind of going through all the steps with you, and I'll show you how the envelopes look like. So they're just an envelope like this. It has like information about the person, and when I get Adrian in here later in the car, him and I will show you kind of what we do and what the envelopes look like. See you soon. So hi everybody, this is Adrian, and we are going tonight to do our calls, and tonight we have 4 different envelopes. So when you work as a evening volunteer for the rides, you always have a person that gets the calls in the morning, and they usually end by 11 o'clock, and then they organize all the envelopes and whatever this person needed or this family of assistance. You can maybe show them. Yeah, well, don't do it like that.
Here you have I have to cover this because it has their information, which we get to see their phone number and name. This is the yellow slip, which
you can open it up and show it to them. Yeah. So like most people, you can open that one if you want to show them. It's okay, it doesn't show their name.
This is for food assistance. So within 7 days, they can take this down to the store,
yeah,
and they can get food at a discounted rate. And this it gives them a allotted amount to spend there. They also get food gift cards up to, I think it's $80 per adult.
And like we've had situation where we have to make a judgment call. Like if we visit a family and we feel like they need more gift cards, every team is given like extra $60 worth of gift cards for food that we just keep, and then we spend as we see fit in that moment. So
it's not just food though. There's also utilities, which
appliances.
You can get clothing, footwear, dishes, glass utensils, towels, bedding, blankets, pots and pans, toasters, ovens, coffee pots, kettles, microwaves, or fans.
Can I just show them?
No, because they have the information.
No, I won't show. I want to show the information. So this is like what we call the blue slip. So some families get the blue slip. So when the volunteers talks to them, when they call for help, they will say, okay, I need appliances, or I need a bed, or whatever, and then they'll fill out this blue slip, and when we deliver our envelopes, we tell the family, okay, here's what we're giving you. We're giving you food cards, we're giving you a blue slip and a brown slip, and then they kind of confirm.
Make sure they have a way to get to the store.
Yeah, so that's another thing. Like we always have to, usually the person that they talk to on the phone will confirm that they have a way to get to the St. Vincent de Paul store on Wellington Street. And if they don't have like a friend or someone that they can take a ride with, then we also can give them a bus ticket or a couple of bus tickets, but those go really, really quickly. And after you're done your calls, we text our main, I guess, conference leader. And we say Tuesday team is done. We successfully completed all our deliveries of the envelopes, and if for some reason they have any envelopes that we couldn't deliver for whatever reason, sometimes people are not home or they had to leave suddenly or wherever, then we take it back to the leader at their house so they stay safe. But we'll keep you posted. We're gonna go and do our rounds, and we'll see you guys soon. Bye. So it's us back again. We have visited 3 out of our 4 calls, and it's been about 40 minutes. So we've been driving through the city, and we did have a couple of situations where the person didn't respond, like they were not responding to the doorbell. So our protocol is to always have our caller ID not showing, so like our phone number if we're going to call the person, and then we call them, and if they answer, that's great. We can kind of say, hey, we're here with St. Vincent. We have your envelope. We also had situations where the person will not answer the phone because it's an unknown number. And in that case, we call, we say who we are, and then we say we're gonna hang up now and we're gonna call you right back. And in 99% of the cases so far, they've answered the second time.
And if not, we just come back a different day.
Yeah, and then it will be a different team on a different day that gives that. So far so good. We were able to see all the people. All of them had a way. We asked each person if they had a way to get to the store, and they were able to either drive themselves, or they had a friend or a bus or some other means of transportation to reach the Wellington Street to get to the dry goods. But we're off to our last visit, and then we'll give you guys the final debrief.
So this is also 40 minutes, not going inside anybody's houses. This is just drop-offs. So if we usually like that you go inside and talk with them, but since COVID, it's kind of fallen off a little bit because people aren't as inviting into their home. So
yeah, like the original, you'll hear this in the presentation before I show you this video. The original idea of St. Vincent was that you would engage with the people and listen to their story and kind of connect. And like Adrian said, like COVID kind of took that away from the organization because more people are kind of just used to meeting you at the door, and you just give them the support and the envelope and kind of chat with them briefly. But we've always been encouraged, at least from our training, to ask, like, do you mind if we come in? And some people are okay with that. And then it gives you a chance to kind of talk to them and let them share their story if they want to. But you kind of know, you have to read the room. If you show up at somebody's door, you kind of have a sense, like, you know, whether that person would want you come in, or they're in a rush, or they have to put their baby to bed, or their dog's barking and they just want to take the help and say thank you and just go back in their house. But it depends also how much time you have as the volunteer to spend with each person and talk to them. But I would say from the visits we've done, and now we've been doing this for almost 2 months, the ones that are most memorable are the ones where you get to go inside and the person gets to share about their life. And sometimes they share with you why they called and why are they in this difficult situation. So those are always, at least for me, more meaningful experiences.
Sometimes one of us can't go. In that case, another member of the society will fill their place. And I remember a couple weeks ago, I went with the president of the organization, Rob, and we had one lady where we talked to her, I want to say for close to 40 minutes just at the door, but she was just like talking about what she's going through. Like the apartment was trying to raise the rent and smashing windows, her window was smashed, like just like little stuff like that just kind of builds up, and then they need to release that. So that's part of why some people call, is just to have that person to kind of share with.
Yeah, have the second. Yeah, we had a situation like that too. That's the one I remember the most. Is we went to see a gentleman who lived in an apartment building, and he was grateful for such a small thing. We actually because the elevator wasn't working, so we went up to the 5th floor of this apartment building, and he didn't expect us on the other side of his actual physical door. He was gonna walk all the way and meet us at the front of the apartment, but we took the initiative just to walk upstairs. And he was so grateful because he felt the need to share, like that he had some health difficulties that would make, you know, that walk down the stairs so much harder for him. And he was just so grateful, right? Most people are very grateful when we come. And I think the ones that call more frequently, they know you're a volunteer. Like, you don't have anything, no benefit from this, in a sense that you're not getting paid for it. You're not, you know, doing it for the accolades. You're not doing it to be thanked. You're just doing it because you believe in serving other people through St. Vincent. So I think most people are pretty humble, at least from what I've experienced. So we're off to our last call, and then we'll do our final closing. See you soon. So we're back. This is our last closing debrief video. So we just visited our 4th neighbor, and we did prompt them a little bit to share. Well, you did.
Yeah, we try to like strike up more of a conversation. I feel like some of these people are a little closed off, but we can try to get some get them talking, like this person was going through some hard times, like, so.
Yeah, and one of the other things we didn't mention is you always have to have two people go to see every neighbor because of liability and also just for your own personal safety. So we have to always go in pairs. And if you look at like the original, like how Saint Vincent used to do it, he would always have two people go and door to door, and that's kind of how everything started, hundreds of years ago. So that model of always going in pairs together, not just to like physically support one another, but also like spiritually support one another. They even recommend before you go to do your service, to help the neighbors to do a prayer, and they have different prayers that they suggest, or even just a simple prayer, because it's not easy work, because you see a lot of things that are very difficult. You see people living in many compromising situations where, they're struggling and maybe they don't have a lot of dignity right now. And you see people live in poverty and in different situations. So it kind of gives you that spiritual strength to be able to kind of process that.
Well, I think that's important to understand what people's situations can be like, and realize that most of us are very privileged in our situations. And
then sometimes when people call,
there's always somebody with less.
Yeah, there's always somebody with less, and like not everybody calls this support because, let's say, they're unemployed, for example. It's not always like just like a generalized situation of lack of income. Sometimes it's different circumstances. Like we've had neighbors where their elderly parent is living with them and they're taking care of them, so they can't work, for example, or they have a child that they have to take care of that's preventing them from working either part-time or full-time because that child needs full-time care. So it's not always like the stereotypical, discriminatory kind of notions like, oh, they're just lazy, or they don't want to work, or they're okay to live in poverty and just collect the social assistance checks. It's nothing like that. And that's like one of the, like my son said, one of the most humbling thing is kind of going with the mindset that you're not in their shoes. You're there to help in whatever way you can, and you pass no judgment whatsoever on why they call. You're just there to help them get through that time, whether they called once and they'll never call again, or maybe they keep calling on monthly basis because they need the food vouchers to support their family, or they need a microwave, or they need shoes, or whatever, because everyone's life can change suddenly.
Well, the one thing that to make this clear is it's not a income source. It's you can only get it every other month. It's like an emergency push.
Respite. Yeah, it's like emergency
yeah.
care that like, and they keep track like how many people call. Maybe they can get, let's say, $80 max a month for food vouchers
per adult.
Per adult in that household. And you could have like kids, and you could have more like their parent living with them, but the 80 is the max. And we know $80 these days with the cost of living and the cost of food is almost like so little. But we've been kind of it's been shared with us that we always recommend that they use the food voucher to buy fresh goods at the grocery store, and then they can get the brown slip or the yellow slip to get the dry goods at the store, so they can like combine those two sources to be able to have meals.
And the dry goods are heavily discounted at the St. Vincent de Paul store because there isn't any cost besides running the store. It's just because it's all through donations. So if you have any donations, do not put it to Value Village. Put it to St. Vincent de Paul, because it actually goes to people who need it. Value Village is for profit. It is not a charity. They just take all the money. It's not a charity. So please just put it to St. Vincent.
Yeah. Plus,
don't give it to Value Village
because they're like under a different umbrella of corporations, where St. Vincent de Paul is like a Catholic-led organization that basically runs purely 100% by volunteers. Nobody gets paid. Nobody benefits in any other way. It's all people that believe in working to help their neighbors in need in that moment. And like my son said, it's not like a long-term social justice solution. It's like immediate needs that are charitable in that moment for that person, just to help them with what they need in that exact moment. So we were kind of lucky that we stumbled upon our chapter president asking in church for volunteers, and we kind of felt a calling and responded, and here we are. Now we're the Tuesday team, and we do the Tuesday calls. So tonight all our calls are done. We're gonna text our leader and say that we're good to go, and then there's always an email confirmation sent saying the Tuesday team delivered their envelopes with the support. Here's the people they visited. Here's how much money's left over for this week for anything that we need to do. If we gave any bus tickets, we have to report that. And if we gave any extra food vouchers that were given to us to make, just to keep, we have to also be accountable for that, because all of that has to kind of put into the books to prove where the money goes and to which people it helps. So I'm really lucky to be able to do this with my son, and I cherish this time we have together. We got Timmy's too, so that's nice. It's important coffee.
The cheesecake Timbits that they got.
Yeah, I didn't try them yet, but supposedly they're good.
One other thing is that if I assume that most of you guys are grade 9 or 10, make sure
grade 10, yeah.
when you're doing your hours, that you go to the store, because it's really fulfilling to be able to put that time towards people that need it. Mm-hmm. I think it's crazy that people go to volunteer at like Brentwood Farms or something, and it's like they're making money from that. It's not going to a good place. So there's like, because this can help anyone. Like, there might be somebody down your street that needs this, and by you working at the store, because all of the money that we give to people comes from the store. So if you just put in like 10 hours there, that could be enough to give like food for somebody to get them like through a week. That's all they need is just 1 week of food.
Yeah.
And if we don't get enough money for them, then they're out of luck.
And when you guys get older, if you can drive, they are desperate also for drivers to deliver furniture and beds to people. They're always looking for drivers. Volunteers on many different levels. You can do what Adrian and I do. You can volunteer at the store. You can volunteer at the store organizing the merchandise or the shelves, or you can, even if you end up going to church, we have collections that we collect donations, so volunteers do that. But I mean, I don't know how long I'll do this work, but I feel like now that I'm in this, I hope to do it for the rest of my life if I can, because we have some leaders in our chapter that have been with St. Vincent probably over 40 years. And they're like the veterans, and they're like super amazing. And now they're retired, and that they're the people taking the phone calls and making all these envelopes for us. So it's like everybody's working together as a team. And if one chapter, like let's say St. Pius Church chapter, runs out of money, we have other churches that they can dip into. And like the main chapter president is our former principal, actually, Mr. Robert Campbell. So he's like the main person for Brantford, and he does a lot of fundraising, and basically all the elementary schools and all the high schools that are Catholic high schools in the board or separate school board, they all work with St. Vincent de Paul. It's like the number one organization that we do. Anyhow, we'll wrap it up. Hope this was informative, and God bless you, and keep making a change in the world.